million people in America that are age 0 to 17. Of that 60 million, 110 have been to the hospital.
Yeah. And these are just these figures that you got
from the CDC, or from the CDC, the official health organization of America. So I say you send kids to school, the only risk you have is that they're going to spread the virus to somebody who might get sick and die. But the probability that a kid, young person, or even some of these athletes we're worried about at Alabama, Auburn, and Troy, the probability that they are going to die from this illness is, like I said weeks ago, it's smaller than the probability they'll die from a lightning strike. Because I guarantee you, in America, there's probably been, in the last 4 months, at least 3 people that are kids that have died of lightning since February.
It's probably less than when I go out and make my swim every day out into the Gulf of Mexico. A shark attack.
Yeah. Now, I don't want to remember, I did a feature story on the 38-year-old man from Sylacauga who almost died. If he would have died, he would have been the first COVID death in America by 30 days. His name's Timmy McCain. 38 years old, he's a little overweight, had hypertension, so there's some risk factors. But he had some kind of terrible reaction, and we speculate on what might have done it. And he came as close to dying as you can. He was on a ventilator for 12 he was on an ECMO machine, which takes your blood out of your body, oxygenates it, and then pumps it back in your body. That probably saved him. So there are exceptions, but he is an anomaly. Most of these cases is proven. I mean, it's not only over 65, it's really 80 and older are the 40% of your fatalities.
And of course, right now the Europeans are starting to reopen their airports and allow. It said Americans are unlikely to be allowed into more than 30 European countries for business or tourism when the continent begins next week to open its borders to the world. And more than 15 million Americans are estimated to travel each year to Europe. Those figures are down way, and now it doesn't look like a lot of those countries are going to allow Americans to fly in there.
Well, that just hurts the the tourism industry must have been hit harder than any other industry by far.
It's definitely not only
travel, leisure, tourism, whatever they call it.
No question about it. And a lot of that information is come up recently. What I'm saying, we thought the numbers were going down. The death rate numbers, Mike, were going down. Didn't you say it went as low as 200 one day last week?
Yeah, it was 200 and 300. It's come down a lot.
Which,
right now,
that's worldwide, nationwide.
National news is coming on West Virginia's football program with Dick Coning, who's a friend of the show, a friend of ours, probably one of the best defense coordinators, I would definitely say, in the Sun Belt history. Is now under fire and trying to keep his job at West Virginia due to insensitive comments, and that's made the ESPN national headlines. And Tony made a statement yesterday about what had happened. I'll read it to you. He said that this is about the player that came out and made allegations against Coney. He said, "I respect Terry Martin's right to share that some of my words and actions impacted him. I care deeply for KJ, and when given the opportunity to speak to him directly, I'm optimistic we can find common ground. In the interim, I want to offer my sincere apologies to both KJ and the entire West Virginia University family. I never intended anything I said or did to offend or be insensitive. But KJ's tweet reminded me that sometimes intent is not always clearly communicated. I devoted the last 30-plus years of my life serving young men through coaching. I've always tried to see the things from the perspective of others. I'm not perfect, but I'm also not a person many of social media have painted me to be. I'm still learning every day, and in this opportunity for me to listen and learn and improve. Over the past several days, some of our players have asked me why I'm not spoken up or spoken out publicly against racism and social injustice. Coach Brown and our administration addressed those important issues on behalf of our program, and I fully supported their messages. So that's a statement from
What was
Coning.
What was the original statement? If you want to summarize it, or what was?
Well, I'm having a hard time reading my. I think I might have to get reading glasses. I can barely read anymore, but it's just basically Vic Coney's under fire because of comments he made for one of the starting safeties of West Virginia, and now he's been placed on administrative leave and is basically fighting to keep his job. So he's basically come out the player that had the beef, and is trying to basically explain to him where he was coming from, and basically fighting for the job to keep it. He's one of the guys making $700,000 a year as a defense coordinator at West Virginia, and this could end his coaching career.
Yeah.
And of course, he's a great guy. I know him personally. A lot of us do.
He's been on the show many times.
Good guy, and I've never thought that he'd be racist in any way. High in the world kind of football coach or anybody associated with football be racist.
For 100 years, yeah.
I mean, are especially intentionally racist, no question, because what I'm saying, college football and it's not a black-white issue. It's a game that black and whites play together and they're teammates.
Let's take a break.
Solid. We're going to take a break. We'll be back.
A personal touch, a high level of trust, whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
We've been doing business the right way for 31 years, and now we've approached a year at the all-new Bill Jackson Ford. But don't take our word for it. We feel our customers express it the best.
I would recommend Bill Jackson to friends and family. Environment was just friendly.
It's a short drive from anywhere.
Troy Cable Security Wi-Fi doorbell camera allows you to answer the door from your smartphone when you are at home, at work, or on the go. When a visitor presses the button, Troy Cable Security sends a live video feed to your smartphone so you can see, hear, and speak to the person at your door. With the doorbell camera, you can have your porch light turn on automatically when it detects motion at night to create the appearance that someone is at home. You can view video clips so you can always know who stopped by when you are out. Troy Cable Security. You love them, protect them.
At the Piggly Wiggly, we proudly support our local farmers and bring you the best they have to offer, all at cost plus 10%. When you shop local, you reinvest in your community. Remember, buy local, shop local. Piggly Wiggly, local since forever.
Log him in.
Back to our show, ladies and gentlemen, brought to you by Premier Dodge Chrysler Jeep and Ram trucks on the bypass right here in Troy. And I was by there yesterday and had my truck service, and I was in and out of there in 30 minutes. Sat there and talked to some friends of mine, and they came in and said, "Mr. Amos, your truck's ready." I said, "Well, I'm in conversation and I'm having a good time here. Do I have to leave?" But boy, they're right now. Their sales have been booming, and my good friend Jason Gregory and the whole staff there are just as excited as they can be about this huge July the 4th sale coming up from Premier Dodge Chrysler Jeep. Got a call coming in here. You're on today in L.A. Good morning.
Mike, it's Max. How are you this morning?
Max Howell, how you doing, my friend? Calling from Fulton, Mississippi. And Max, what's going on in your neck of the woods?
It's pouring down rain up here today, Mike. We're going to be, it looks like we're going to be about half on down again.
I know it.
Because of the fires, but because of the rain, it's all up here today.
You know, Max, and I said something briefly, and I don't want to be caught out of context here, but racism has no part in college football or pro football, anything. The black and white athletes are there representing the team and to give it their 100% effort to win football games, and I don't think that really appears to be any kind of problem with college football, but we've got people trying to make it that way. That's what's so bad.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The media is fed in that thing, Mike. You know, it appears to me it's all orchestrated. I mean, a lot of areas, you know, have never had been changed in 20 or 30 years, and those fires are trying to be stirred up now because every other part of society is.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't. The ultimate goal is to change everything we've done now. And I've made a living in that industry for a long time, and a very good living, and I'm proud of it. But in the things that had happened historically, I know needed to be changed to a degree, but not to the point of anarchy.
Yeah.
And that's what bothers me so much.
But, you know, to me, a good football coach, it don't matter what color you are or what church you go to.
Well, let's give Max some background. We're talking about the Coach Canning, Vic, that's in trouble in West Virginia.
Vic Conan.
Vic Conan, for some alleged remarks he made, insensitive remarks.
Well, you know, I read those. You know, again, everybody's got an opinion, you know, and to me, the media pick and choose those opinions that they want to broadcast and put all over the country if they think it's, you know, if it'll start a fire somewhere. That's the whole thing. It's the media situation is where I'm going to bring dealing this on. And the fact is, I've gotten to the point where I don't believe anything any national media puts out anymore.
You know, I'm worried about this effort to censor free speech. I mean, are we going too far that, you know, you give your opinion and it's a politically incorrect opinion and you're fired, or, you know, I don't understand this movement to ban the Confederate flag. I don't like the racists that have co-opted the Confederate flag, but my goodness, if somebody wants to have a Confederate flag, and they should be able to have a Confederate flag.
Yeah.
Well, that's just an opinion to have that is not have it.
Right.
Yeah. On the other side.
Well, that's a big issue in Mississippi right now, Max. You know, some of Mississippi State and Ole Miss players act like they will not play if they do not remove the flag.
Well, it is in the state flag. That's kind of a different. I can understand that. People being offended by having it in the. I remember when we had the big issue in Alabama where we had the Confederate flag on the Capitol, and they took it down, and there really wasn't a huge amount of controversy. But I could see Black Americans that would not like that Confederate flag over our state capitol, and I agreed with them.
Well,
but somebody, you know, Joe Blow having the Confederate flag in the back of his pickup truck, let him have it.
But I tell you what, a good football coach had no even resemblance that he would look at a player any different because of his color, you know, and kind of what he believed in.
First of all, you got to remember, those kids just didn't show up on campus. The football coach went out and selected those kids to come.
Exactly.
Now, in high school, that's a different story. But at the college level, those kids, you know, they were invited to come to be part of that program.
And those coaches love them. Those coaches love them.
They understand that it takes a good diversity mix to win.
Yeah, exactly right.
In fact, and that's a fact of life. And again, wherever there's just a little bit of indecision, maybe, with administration, the media's going to pay in that. And then, you know, we got a guilt complex in this country right now as well. That, you know, not everybody, but there's a large majority will jump on board, regardless of the controversy, just because it's controversy.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know where that's going to end. I'll be honest with you. I have no.
Yeah, like a part of the article you read is almost hard to believe. So Coning, a part of the article, the players accused him during practice Conan's defense coordinator said the kid keeps on messing up in practice, and apparently he's not doing the right defensive scheme. And Conan says, what's your problem? Are you retarded? I mean, that's not something, trust me.
That's surely not a racist remark, I promise you that.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I've heard coaches say so much worse in my lifetime of watching practices and going to practices than saying that. Don't get me wrong. People
tell me I'm crazy every day. He says, you're crazy. You're not retarded, but you're crazy. On me, it's nothing serious, nothing real meaningful in any of it,
And then one of the comments also, there was some comments about Hispanics, and there was some comments about the protesting going on and stuff like that. But also another one of the comments was he wanted his defensive players, to do Bible study and read the Bible. And one of the players was an atheist and didn't believe in God, and he ended up transferring to Marshall. And that was also a big issue, is that the player that accused him of all the rest of this stuff also said, you shouldn't be preaching to us about this. This guy doesn't believe in this. But Conan was trying to change the guy. He was wanting him to read the Bible.
Yeah, sure.
So that's another thing that, he made some insensitive comments about other stuff as well, but I'm just saying, for those two comments, that's definitely something I don't think you should lose your job over.
No, I don't either. So those were considered racist remarks?
No. He made some remarks about the riots going on and protesting.
Yeah,
he made a remark about Trump, shutting down the border and building a border wall and not allowing illegal aliens into the country. He made comments about that. I'm just saying some of these other comments are stuff that,
But why can't he make remarks about the border and illegal aliens?
This guy is extremely sensitive, I guess.
What do they call these people? Everybody is offended, and they just. Well, they got a term for these people. They're snowflakes. Everybody.
But I'm just saying though. If a coach who's been coaching over 30 years, and he's an old school coach, and you can hear him in interviews. He's just that way. I can't imagine. Friend of our show, and we love him to death, Wayne Bolt. You remember the way Wayne Bolt coached Dad?
Oh yeah.
You remember the way he taught the players?
Yeah, I know. and they loved him, for it.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm just saying.
Bud Casey, they loved him, and he loved them, and Wayne Bolt loved them.
I'll talk about when we've talked about a lot on this show. Wayne Grant. I used to interview him when I was a sports reporter in town, and he was just so candid and frank, and I guarantee 70% of the things Coach Grant would say to me, I say, I'm not putting that in the newspaper.
Exactly right. But they love their players, and to me, it's one of the great things in the world is college football, and I just hate for people to start throwing things in there to create controversy.
What's Nick Saban gonna do? Nick Saban's one of the old school, probably one of the toughest, and trust me, he cusses left and right. I know for many people that have gone to practice, I've gone to practice. Choose guys out. What are these guys gonna do? Are they gonna lead the program?
Yeah, exactly.
Max, you were saying something?
The whole underlying factor is causing chaos. That is the goal of the minority of this country. I use that term loosely to say the media fans in every part. When we go to college football or politics and religion or wherever, it's happening in every facet. The sad thing is that we still around society is going to believe everything that's said and take a side. Many times it's contrary to what a majority of the people believe.
Yeah, and there's nobody that's going to love you or love a player like his coaches, and and they're going to try to motivate these players to be the best they can be, but at the same time, they love them and they nourish them.
I'm just learning about this, but Michael makes a good point. That coaches are going to get reprimanded for things they say at football practice. You might as well. It's going to be 10,000 football coaches from high school to college, from Division I to Division III, because there are things said on that practice field that are
they're going to be profane. It's a lot of coaches that are profane, but they don't need. They're just trying to motivate kids. They don't. It's not a serious. I mean,
and it's been going on for generations.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. I'll tell you something that's a good example of this in a way. How many times, Max, in your coaching ability, have you seen a real fight between two players on the football field? I mean, they're just slugging it out, and then finally the coaches go in and break it up. How many times have you seen that fight go into the dressing room after practice? How many times? Very, very, very rarely ever. Ever. And what I'm saying, what goes on that practice field, it goes, when they hit the showers, they forget all about it. And I tell you what, I don't want that player on my football team if he's willing to take a fight from the football field into the dressing room.
Yeah, they don't like that.
Very true, and that's you don't see that, you don't get the part. It's the other side of that too, guys. Whereas you don't get anything positive from the media anymore. All they that digging best man. Even the thing with NASCAR this past weekend.
Yeah.
But they still, I just read a whole half-page article about it in my local paper this morning in Tupelo, advocating hell it was a hate crime and on and on, and FBI and all have already proven it was.
Yeah.
So the media's not going to turn that loose for a while.
Well, I'll tell you this is a perfect time for the media. They don't have anything else to write on, and they're looking for the negatives and to sell papers.
I think the media has been co-opted with this crazy culture.
Yeah.
Some people think the school systems have as well, education systems, but you see bias in the stories they run, but the point I always make is where they really have power is all the stories they could run, but they don't run because they don't fit the narrative. These people are the gatekeepers of the news. They decide what the news is. They're going to put the spin on the stuff they put on the air and in the newspaper, but what really hurts the country is all the contrarian stories that you could see to help you make up your mind that you don't get to see because they don't assign reporters to that story.
And I didn't know Jesus was going to be brought into this thing. I think 99% of us believe in Jesus Christ, and we haven't.
That's an underlying effort to crush that. I'm going to tell you right now by the media. It's an underlying effort out there to do away with all religious backgrounds. Look, they start with the statue situation on our history. You wait and see it go straight to the media. It's already started to take hold in the ultra-liberal cities. Yeah. So, my point is, where does it stop?
You know what's going to happen if they don't watch it? You know what will happen? They're going to keep the media off the practice fields, and they're going to. It can't be good for the media to throw out things that are not true.
It comes football. 90% of the schools already allow the media.
Yeah, they allow them in there for like a 15-minute viewing period. I'll tell you, Coach Blakeney called in the other day, and at the big colleges, they make a couple of players available for interviews once a week, right? And then it's a pool interview, though, so there's 15 reporters talking to Tua Tagovailoa for 15 minutes. That's it. And then the sports information director picks the players that they're even going to make available. Well, here's what I used to do at Troy when I wanted to do a feature story on Troy University. I'd call the sports information director and say, I want to do a story on this linebacker, Rab, or somebody. They say, fine, here's his number, call him. And then I'd go eat lunch with him or go and talk to him for as long as I wanted to after practice. I got great stories because I could spend a lot of time with these players, and they have fantastic stories to tell. But I could talk to them at night on the telephone for 2 hours. Those days are over, man, and I don't think that's a good.
Well, now,
players, you don't know the same thing coming out the back where the come from.
we're having
No idea.
yeah. Max Howell calling in from Fulton, Mississippi, is one of the most well-known sports analysts in the country, and we're talking football. And of course, I want us to just you've been around coaching a long time. This is just it's ludicrous to try to throw racism into coaching football. These guys all are one, and their oneness is what makes them good. So I can't see any football team gaining by the way the media is portraying them to be.
I'm worried that you're going to turn off a lot of fans with this. And then you also got the pay the players movement that's coming on. That's going to turn off a lot, let them be paid as much as they want to. That's going to turn off a lot of people. You got the liability issues with the head injuries. You got the COVID-19 issues, economic issues, budgets. Before we came on the show, Mike was telling me that they got Troy's schedule planned out to 2032.
They're trying to find something to
and I made the comment. I said, I'm not even sure we're going to have college football in 2032.
Right now,
they say Trevor Lawrence, the Clemson quarterback, can make an extra $4 million this year playing in college football because they're going to start paying these guys, for all their jersey sales. They're pretty much advertising of the program. Any kind of video game, any kind of thing that their pictures on,
right,
they're going to receive money for.
Couldn't he go out and do a commercial endorsing a local car dealership and get paid $100,000?
Yeah.
Is that already a deal? To do that?
Yeah, the NCAA approved it.
I thought it might be a year or two, but
man.
Maybe it is.
Exactly.
Going ahead.
Of course,
it's one of those type things. Bigger sports, like your basketball, your baseball, of course, your football are going to be the players are going to make money. Some of these other sports you're not going to see.
A few, the star players will.
Star players, yeah.
The second string right guard is not going to.
Right.
Like Tua would advertise the Toyota dealership or the Kia dealership.
Yeah.
Or, whatever dealership in Tuscaloosa. They said Tua would have made around $4 million last year.
Well, say he wants to do an autograph signing at the local sporting goods store. And people are going to pay him $10 per autograph, or the store owner is going to pay him $20,000 for that appearance.
If it's his jersey with his name on the back of it, I think he deserves it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no question about it. Times are changing, no question.
But that's going to be great for Tua. But it ain't going to help the player that's not a star. And then that boosters are going to abuse this system. They're going to say, oh, this is just a marketing business deal here. You're going to tell these prospects, yeah, man, you come to Alabama, we're going to hook you up with some good autograph signings, and you're going to get a lot of commercial opportunities with such and such business. So you can just see the can of worms this is opening it up.
Premier Dodge Chrysler Jeep, do they advertise in our local newspapers? Well, that ad right there, that full-page ad right there ran in the Troy Messenger yesterday, and it's talking about a huge 4th of July sale going on at Premier Dodge Chrysler Jeep and Ram trucks, and they've also got right now online you can sign up and try to win one of those supersonic lawnmowers. I call them. I said, if I won this, and I've already put my name in to try to win that lawnmower, but if I won it, I'd probably never learn how to use it.
Have you seen these lawnmowers today, these riding lawnmowers? They can cut your grass in about 10 minutes, it seems like. They're done. And I think about little me when I was 15 years old with that push mower.
Yeah.
They can cut the grass. A yard that would take me an hour and a half, they can be done with it in 7 minutes.
Let me tell you folks out there, especially you guys doing my grass today or mowing grass all over town today. If they don't use the grass catcher, mowing grass is a piece of cake. if all they had to do was cut the grass. Listen, how many times do you see them out there and they don't have a grass catcher?
Yeah, the grass.
And I told my guy the other day, I said, listen, what's happening to the grass that goes back down into the, after you've cut it? Is that going to clog up your yard or whatever?
Your grass pores.
Whatever. Let me tell you this. Hey, ask that guy that's cutting your grass, do you catch the grass? And put the grass over there on the side of the road for the city to pick up.
They'll pick it up.
But hey, listen, that grass you cut, I don't want it anymore. Use the grass catcher and put it over here. But if I was in the grass cutting business and all I had to do was just cut the grass and maybe do a little edging, it's a piece of cake. Especially riding around. I mean, hey, he's having fun driving his lawnmower around. But now, if he's catching the grass, he goes up once, twice, and now it's time to empty the
you
grass. A lot more trouble.
People used to have a yard man. That's probably politically incorrect now. We had a yard man.
Have you noticed that? Though,
but then you had everybody going into the business, and Mom called those businesses mow, blows, and goes. Mow, blow, and go.
Let's say on Crow Hill, the guy's got 6 or 7 yards, and he doesn't have to catch the grass. Heck, he's through by noon.
It's a numbers game. The faster
and he hadn't even he's listening to the good music and riding.
The faster you can do it, the more yards you can do, the more you're going to get paid. So
not like driving a golf cart back and forth in front of your front yard. If you don't have to pick up the grass, it's a piece of cake.
Take the clippings out.
So Askam said, I don't want those clippings that you just cut in my yard. I want those clippings taken away. You know.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Dad, we need to mention Al Poe, the former Troy secondary coach. He was at Carver High School. He was the head coach there, had great teams at Carver. Then Coach Blaney gave him his first chance to coach in college ball. And he coached for Coach Blaney, I think, 1 or 2 years, and then coached for Neil Brown 4 years. He left Troy and went to West Virginia, was outside linebacker coach at West Virginia, and it was announced yesterday, even though the hire was made back in February, he's the new outside linebacker coach at Auburn, and he's a great recruiter.
Yeah, and see,
his rise in coaching is really moving up. Yeah. It's amazing.
And you might be seeing why Auburn is getting to be so good is because they recruit great recruiters. Is that right, Max?
They do, but I still tell you they got a problem at the top. The indecision at the top of that coaching staff.
Yeah,
it's just remarkable. The fact is I don't know whether it's communication or what. Go have a talk with Chip Lindsey about it. He'll tell you exactly.
Yeah.
What some of the problems are.
Yeah, I always say it like this. When Coach Lindsey was an offensive coordinator at Auburn, he would say, Coach, can I make this call, or is it okay if I make this call, or will you consider this call to be made? Instead of him being able to make the call, it always goes back to the head guy. He's going to make the call, isn't he?
That's all right. That's right. You know what he's paid.
Well, I mean, Chad Morris is established offense coordinator. I wonder if that will happen with Chad Morris being there now.
I don't know. But Saban, bless old Saban's heart, you don't hear any problems with him. Plus, one thing about Saban is he doesn't allow any of his coaches to make any, to have any conversations.
I could not call up an Alabama assistant like I used to call up Coach Blakeney's assistants and talk to him for as long as I wanted. No.
I mean, Saban, ain't that right, Max? He does not allow his coaches to interview with anybody.
Yeah, he runs it all, and he decides, I don't think any assistant coach gets any interviews anymore.
And you know what? We're seeing good results because of it too. Tell you the truth,
Well, you got so many, and I think, guys, it's societal. Everybody's out there trying to make a splash, and the media's trying to get their 2 cents worth in and get the story first, whether it's true or not. How many retractions do you ever see in the paper or on TV? If they make a mistake, you don't ever see one. Because that's irrelevant. All they want to do is get out there, and that's coming to assistant coaches and players. Well, you don't know what they're going to say when they get in front of the camera.
Coach Saban had a funny comment about that one time. he is kind of an authoritarian, and he takes total control of his program and what his assistants can and can't say, what his players do. He has these very specific programs. He made I think Jake Coker had just transferred from Florida State, and he was getting used to the Alabama way, and Coker made some remark about something that was going on.
I get it.
And Saban said, yeah, nobody likes it. None of my assistants like doing this, but I noticed that when they go somewhere else and become head coaches, they do the exact same thing. And so all these muzzling of all the assistant coaches where they can't talk, about 20 of Saban's assistant coaches have now become head coaches. When they go to their program, they have the exact same policy.
They take the they take the same, whatever's been successful.
Yeah.
And there's certain programs around the country. You mentioned Alabama's one. The assistant coach wants to get his name, get that school on his resume because of the success pattern.
Yeah.
And, they take everything in consideration of what made them successful, and that's one of the facets out there.
Yeah. We're going to take a short break. Our show is brought to you by Wise Office Supply on South Grundy Street right here in Troy, and also Express Oil Change. You want a great place to check your oil and change your oil and do some mechanic work. Express Oil is the place to go. And also Wells Fargo Advisors. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.
At the Piggly Wiggly, we proudly support our local farmers and bring you the best they have to offer, all at cost plus 10%. When you shop local, you reinvest in your community. Remember, buy local, shop local. Piggly Wiggly, local since forever.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
Trojan Auto Parts of Troy, home of Napa Know-How. Stop by and see owners Mike and Melissa Kilcrease and their Napa Know-How team with over 100 years of combined experience. We're the only locally owned parts store in Pike County, and we're fully stocked and ready to serve you. We pride ourselves on being your go-to parts store, not only for the simple items, but we specialize in those hard-to-find items as well. Trojan Auto Parts, the right part at the right price at the right time. Napa, a name you've trusted here in Troy since 1945.
Know-how, Napa Know-How. Have you seen an increase in your insurance premiums or significant change in your insurance coverage? Let Sandbeck Insurance offer you a better plan to suit your business or personal needs. Sandbeck Insurance offers many lines of insurance, whether it's home, farm, or auto insurance, work comp, business, or health and life policies. Sandbeck is here for you. Call or visit our Troy, Enterprise, or Andalusia office today. Sandbeck Insurance, where we take pride in taking care of your insurance needs.
Troy Cable Security makes it easy to stay aware and stay in control of your home wherever you are. User-friendly interface allows easy navigation for lights, locks thermostat, video, and garage doors. Never worry about leaving your garage door open or the front door unlocked. Your mobile app can send alerts to your phone for alarm and no alarm events. Know when your children arrive home from school with video response. Make sure your home is powered by Troy Cable Security for ultimate access, awareness, and protection.
Coming live outside.
We're back to our show, and ladies and gentlemen, live from Paradise, Grayton Beach, Florida. That's my little granddaughter, Mary Prater, Amos, and she's my little sweet granddaughter. And we're looking out over these beautiful old trees in downtown Grayton Beach. And there's your old pickup truck, Mike.
You recognize it.
And there's the main drag right there to Grayton Beach and the Red Bar, isn't it?
Yeah, everybody's been to the Red Bar and knows what we're looking at.
Mike, you got it all patriotic. You'll have a big gathering out there on the 4th of July, won't you?
Yeah, I will.
Hey, where's your Confederate flag?
Wait a minute, he's not going to fly. He sure, listen now, forget, ladies and gentlemen, what was said on this. We're not concerned about any doggone Confederate flags, I promise you. We're America. Of course, Mike, you moving around, you got to, there you go. And he's back with us, but we had some scenes from the Graton Beach area of Florida, and you're just around the corner from the Gulf. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I can go 3 different ways. I guess I can go down the main drag into Phoenix Street, and then I can go down the boardwalk on Magnolia Street. And then if I want to see the real pretty sand dunes, they have the huge sand dunes of the Lake Mountains here. I can go down Pond Street and go through the state park to the beach.
Yeah.
So I've got
It's a very it's a very patriotic area. A lot of American flags. That's no harm to anybody, is it, to raise the American flag? I hope not.
There's a lot of military down here. You have Eglin Air Force Base, so you have a lot of military families down here.
Yeah. Of course, it's one of the most beautiful times. Have you ever been to Graton Beach, Max? I'm sure you have, because you lived right there in Fort Walton a long time, didn't you?
I just lived in Destin for 11 years.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. And you've been to Red Bar and places like that. But we were talking about how beautiful it was last week, where the Gulf actually flows into the little lake they've got there, and it for just hundreds and hundreds of yards, you have clear water.
Right.
And of course, Michael's. Go ahead.
That was the best kept secret for years, Bud.
Oh, I know it. Yeah, you're right.
Graton Beach was a fishing village. It's all about
Exactly.
For years. Then all of a sudden the tourists got hold of it. It has changed.
Yeah,
a little bit.
All of that whole 38 section, really all the way from Destin to Sandestin all the way to Panama City.
Yeah.
That Roseberry, that whole area there, that's just become really a mecca for tourists. And of course, the high rises have fallen. It's changed. Let's put it that way.
Well, it all changed in '38 when that developer did Seaside, which was kind of a innovative, radical thing at the time.
Max, they've got Troy's football schedule from 2021 all the way to 2033. And here's some of the teams that they'll be playing. They're looking for something to write. But it's not bad business to go ahead if you've got a contract with a school like. One of these days, wouldn't it be something to say Troy to play Notre Dame in 2028? I'm being facetious, but that's good publicity for your program, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, sure. I mean, you got to maximize everything you do, Bob.
All right, now.
And who knows? And I heard Bill say just a moment ago. Who knows what we'll be doing in 2032. I hope I'm around to watch it.
Yeah, exactly. We got a little girl, Mary Prater. Amos is on the air. Good morning, Mary Prater. How you doing?
Say hey to Mikey.
Hey, Mary Prater, did you have a good night's sleep? You want to wave to everybody out there in TV land? And that's my little granddaughter. She's 3 and will be. And here's Millie. Good morning, Millie. How you doing?
It's Millie. Say hey to Mikey.
It's Mikey. How you?
Hi.
They're on the way to school.
Those are adorable girls, Michael. They're beautiful.
But just to take a look at their non-conference foes, these are some of the teams they'll play. In 2021, non-conference will play Liberty, Southern University. They'll be at South Carolina and at Southern Miss, so that's in 2 years. Then they're going to play Army in 2022, Alabama A&M, Ole Miss, and Western Kentucky. In 2023, they're going to play Western Kentucky, Stephen F. Austin, Army, and Kansas State. Then 2024, they're going to play Southern Miss, Florida A&M, Memphis, and Iowa in 2024, which this is a good way to promote your program, that these schools are already under contract. In 2025, they'll play Memphis and Clemson. Then in 2026, they'll play at Mississippi State and at Missouri.
Let me interrupt you on Clemson. You think Dabo will still be the head coach at Clemson, or will he be the head coach at Alabama?
Okay, 2027, Mississippi State. 2028, Southern Miss. We'll just look at it, and then UAB comes back on the schedule, and then Army. And UAB, we play Army 4 times within the next 15 years. But I thought that was pretty unique.
They better do a good job recruiting, is all I can say.
Yeah, you're right. No question about it. And it's very important. And, you know, we don't know about football and what's going to happen, but it's at least something to turn our heads toward, you know.
Alabama's got a home and home with Ohio State. That'll be good, big.
What's it going to be, 28, 29?
Yeah. Exactly right. Of course, our sponsors out there, Bill Jackson Chevrolet Ford, right here in Troy. Bill Jackson went from being the biggest Chevrolet dealer around to one of the biggest Ford dealers. So Ford Chevrolet, Bill Jackson, and they just got through with their golf tournament and had 150 players, Mike. That's how anxious everybody wanted to get back to tournament play locally.
Yeah, I saw where Chip Lindsey lives. He is August 12th, I believe, at the Gilbert at Middle Age.
Yeah, that's right.
They should be, you know, they'll promote that very well. I've attended that, Mike, for the last 3 or 4 years. When Neil was there, it's such a brilliant turnout, and I look for Chip to have one in anticipation of another good year.
I rode by Troy's practice field yesterday, and they got them, you know, freshly cut and freshly lined off. They're beautiful practice facilities now at Troy. Mm-hmm. And they used to, and this was big with every program, is to bring in these huge camps. Some of Troy's camps would have as many as 400 players and to their camps. But what are they going to do without these camps? It's going to hurt recruiting, isn't it?
Well, Norman, I say it just puts more pressure on the recruiting as it does. Basically, those you know, the high-level camps, that'd be a tryout camps is what they were.
Yeah.
Particularly the invitation-only camps.
Yeah.
Where they have all wide receivers or linemen or whatever. And they didn't make the best around, and the coach got a good chance to see. In some kind of minimum contact drills. You know, what they wanted if the kids was there to fit their program or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, it does put a little more pressure on recruiting them.
How many years did we have the Bowden quarterback and receiver camp here? That was always
4 or 5.
Yeah, that was always neat. I would go watch sometimes, and boy, there were some really good players. And you see all the Bowdens, and they didn't. It wasn't like some of these camps where the big name coaches don't do any coaching.
Yeah.
They got down there and coached those kids.
Yeah. You know, I don't.
Dad had every one of them on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, they really enjoyed them. They were great, no question about it. You know what old Bobby told us one day? We were sitting around, and we did a lot of that when he had his camp here. And I heard him say it more than one time. He said, you know, the difference in Troy, Max, this will be something I know you've heard so many times. The difference in Troy and Florida State, you know what he said it was?
What do you say then?
Money. Money. You know, one game at Florida State would produce, you know, $4 or $5 million to the program, and you know, that'd be enough for a year for Troy. You know.
Absolutely, that's true.
And people.
It's a number, Mike. It's a numbers game.
Yeah.
So that's what separates. That way, it's Stephen and booster support or attendance at a ball game. It's all numbers.
Let me ask you this: talking about this change in the recruiting rules, how come Troy couldn't have some super rich booster company that said, all right, we're going to bring in the best offensive line in this country, and we're going to tell those kids when they come in, we're going to make sure they get a great endorsement opportunity. Couldn't somebody do that if they wanted to? And then say it's a marketing deal?
You know, you got the NCAA is going to try to go into that to some degree, even with the, you know, the new rules that they're trying to get completely passed. I know NCAA's forward with it, and some conferences are looking at it closer than others. But they are going to, eventually they're going to allow, look guys, they've been talking about paying players now since the mid-'80s. You know, I was still with that for years and years. But I dealt with that every day. I read the development program for Ole Miss when I was there for the athletic department. And, you know, and my contention was use the financial resources. I don't think every kid needs to be paid to go to school.
All they need to do is help provide the living expenses. I don't think they need to give them a dime more.
They're doing that now.
$100 a month or whatever.
They're giving them a bigger stipend than that. And then, but Max makes a good point, is these players have always got Pell Grants, and that's what, $10,000 a year, I think.
It's not that much, I don't think, is it?
3 to 4.
Yeah.
They want Trevor Lawrence to sell a lot of hair products.
$1,600 a semester.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But
let me tell you guys, 95% of that money went back home. Because
that's right.
The severity of the economic background that we recruit those kids from.
That's right.
And consequently, my contention forever was they needed something. It was never fair for me to go into the Mississippi Delta and recruit kids that had academic backgrounds, had good character, really had a decent home life, but they were so economically deprived. You bring them to a campus like Ole Miss. I recruited kids that come to campus from 2 pair of jeans and a pair of flip-flops.
That's right.
They have clothes, all their clothes to wear. I go to 50 cents to wash their clothes.
That's right. There's no question about it. And of course, they have to qualify, for the Pell Grant with how much money their parents make. And some people qualify and some don't. And those that do qualify got a lot more spending money than those that don't.
But most qualify. Most do qualify.
But those are the things that separate that the average fan out there has no clue about.
I'm being hypothetical with this booster thing and how you could use it to help your program. But Mike remembers. I remember Sanders Truck Lines one time was going to market the Troy offensive lineman as the Sanders line.
Sanders line, and
matter of fact, that would make perfect sense. Yeah. I mean, that would be a great.
They had a picture in front of the 18-wheeler. I'll never forget. The 18-wheeler was in the stadium, and they had a picture in front of it.
That is good advertising for Sanders Truck Lines, in my opinion. Especially if Troy's playing, Clemson and Notre Dame. Fantastic advertising. Talk about, and now the Troy Sanders line, and you show all these offensive linemen. What would stop Sanders line from paying those offensive linemen?
Yeah.
Nothing now.
But and to me, you can't pay somebody something and not this other guy not get anything. You
can. I mean, I know that's going to create problems.
I don't think college football ought to ever get that way. Though I ought to hope
it's here.
It's already been decided.
I know, but I can understand them giving a couple $100 a month or whatever. But everybody needs to get it.
Tua is going to get more than the third string. The third string quarterback ain't going to get jacked. Tua can get as much as he wants.
I know it, but it seemed like he would really just.
It's going to create all kinds of headaches. Bad bloods, your resentment, and
that big old 200.
Why is he getting paid and I'm not getting paid?
Right.
Or I'm better than him and I ain't getting anything.
And I think that's the can of worms that you'd run into.
Well, we're going to run into it.
It's more about their likeness. Their likeness. They're not getting paid for it, especially the video games and stuff like that.
Exactly, I understand that.
That's right. You're going to start with the jerseys and the video games, but I don't know how you can stop the autograph signings, the
administration of that program. This would be a nightmare.
There you're right.
No question about it. Nobody question about it. And you talk about. A lot of these kids are prima donnas already, and just think if they start making all that kind of money, what they'd be like, You'd have to beg them to come to practice. Would you please come to practice today? We're gonna have practice today at 3 o'clock. Do you mind? Do you mind coming and spending about an hour with us today?
Now, what do you say a car dealership in any town? The owner, and they're often big boosters and fans. Says, all right, I'm going to pay this guy $100,000 a year retainer. I'm going to work with his agent, and we're going to pay him $100,000. He's going to do a couple of appearances at our dealership. He'll do a couple of commercials and be in a couple of print ads. And you're going to add it up after a year and say, that player had his picture in 3 full-page ads and went and talked to the employees 2 times. Is that really worth $100,000? And they're going to come back and say, well, that's what the market bears. I got $100,000 of value out of it.
Exactly.
And so
I think they won't pay them until their career is over, from what I've read.
Well,
I don't think there's going to be something they'll pay them like a weekly or 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be something when their career's over, I believe.
That's no different from the NFL guys. I mean, after the draft, just like recruiting, you bring them to campus, and most of them will have the good ones will have an agent, and, you know, and they'll negotiate that out.
Well, I don't know.
Indeed, if the quarterbacks don't get $5,000 a month, that offensive lineman's going to get $500. You know, and
I think it will kill college football. I really do. I think it would just murder college
and
football.
Michael says it might be. He's probably right that it's going to be after their playing career, but the whole thrust is we're going to help these kids, these poor kids right now. You know, they deserve to have the essentials. So I think they're going to have to let them be paid now. But what you're going to have is 1 or 2% of the athletes getting paid, and we're talking about football players. What about the girls cross country athletes?
Yeah,
or the,
that's right.
They ain't gonna get any.
Girls softball's pretty crazy right now. Those top pitchers might make a little money.
Yeah, they might.
Yeah. But again, I just, oh man, we're talking about something that could destroy college athletics.
It's going to turn me off as a college football. It's going to make it more like the NFL, and I do not like the NFL. I do not pay attention to the NFL, you know, barely. I watch the games in the playoffs. But if college football becomes closer to the NFL, you risk losing Bill Rice Jr. as a fan.
I want to say hello to Jim Mullis today at PawnStalkers2.com. Right now, they're located at here in Troy. Pawn Stalkers will, like they say here in this ad, that they will be able to restock your ponds. They will be able to provide aeration systems, windmills, pond care, fountains, feeders. Will make your place look beautiful. I always wanted to have a big fountain out there, a pond with a big fountain in the middle of it. And you can do that.
But you need somebody that knows what they're doing.
Calling my good friend Jim Mullis today. Call him at area code 334-403-2582. We've got a big thing going on down in Enterprise, Mike. Big weekend. They've got a new program going on down there. Bama.
You're talking about where Bama Jam used to be?
Yeah, that's right.
They got a water park.
That's right. They've got a water park, and it's just a fun place to go. And you need to look into it. It's located at the same place where Bama Jam was. They got a big lake. You can.
Isn't that near New Brockton?
Yeah, you're near New Brockton. And, it's a wonderful weekend of fun and fellowship. And we'll be talking more about it on our show tomorrow.
Mike Amos turned 73 tomorrow, so if anybody wants to the show, you can.
Yes, sir, 73. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. If I get there tomorrow. What now?
Maybe you'll be able to live as long as Mike does.
That was one of the best Alabama football teams ever, that 1973 team, until they lost a heartbreaker against Notre Dame in the last game.
Everything we say, and of course, some people are believers and some people are not believers. Like you're gonna touch on people's toes regardless what you do in life. But I will say this: pick up that Bible and read it, and it'll say, "Love me like love your neighbors like you love me, and be kind to one another, and obey my commandments." But more than anything is to love each other and care about each other as we do our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And if we live like that, I think we'll be all right.
Well, if you were a football coach saying that to some of your players,
that's right,
you'd get in trouble.
Might get in trouble. Isn't that a shame that you can't talk about the Lord? Hey, a lot of people, a lot of players, the Lord's Prayer, is so common among athletics. And a lot of kids, until they started playing athletics, never heard of the Lord's Prayer, you know.
Yeah, the Fellowship of Christian Athletics.
Athletics has brought the best out of most everybody, and all you guys, black or white, we love you very much of who you are and what you stand for. But, you know,
you
love
need
the Lord.
organized team activities in any school.
Exactly
that
right.
can be sports, that can be the band program, that can be the debate program, that can be the journalism program. Yeah. Just something that engages kids, brings them together where they work with people they normally wouldn't work with towards a common goal.
And if I see you at the post office, or I see you at the grocery store, or if I see you at the drugstore, if you don't have one of these on, you're not being responsible.
You're going to beat them up?
You're not being responsible. I know this at Walmart yesterday, and I saw a lot of masks, but I saw some that didn't. And I was just wondering why those people were thinking. Either they have not heard the news that we got a virus that's been killing people all over our society, and then we're not even being able to function.
Some people have got asthma, and some people say it makes it more difficult for them to breathe, and it's just uncomfortable. So.
And then a lot of people have found that there are other viruses and other ailments that are coming out of the woodwork that they're finding that could be a cause of the virus. So.
Well, I've seen some grocery stores that even their employees don't even have the mask on.
Yeah. But I tell you what, the deal with the mask is it's going to keep me from breathing on you, and then at the same time, it's going to keep you from breathing on me. And then during the conversation back and forth, a lot of germs pass by there, and you hear people say that give it at least 6 feet distance, you know, and I've done this. I haven't shook a hand in a long time, and I'm a handshaker, you know, a firm handshaker, and look at me straight in the eyes. Well, how about a good elbow and look at me straight in the eyes? But we've got to be responsible. If we're not, we're going to be in huge, huge trouble. And all you got to do is go to the beach and see the thousands and thousands of people down there having a big time. But then when they leave, they're going to take their germs with them. And those germs could cause the life or the well-being of somebody you know and love. I hope you've enjoyed our show today. I know we jumped around a little bit. We're not authorities. A lot of this is our own opinions. And, of course, Bill Rice has done a lot of research. And, you know, he's not trying to say he knows more than anybody else, but he has researched a lot of this. And it's very important that we do the right things, and that's one of those things is to wear a face mask when you're outside of your living quarters, and you know, especially the post office, especially the grocery stores where people are going in and out. You need to have protection, and that is this mask. If you don't have one, call me and I'll tell you how to get one. Have a great day.
Now we got 1 more minute.
All right, 1 more minute.
I want to sing my favorite song for that 1 minute.
All right.
What is my favorite song?
What are you going to sing for us?
No. I will say that my wife is started singing in the choir at First Methodist Church.
Oh, yeah.
And she didn't do a solo yet, but she had a little trio that did a performance at the last church service at First Methodist.
Yeah.
And also, you know what she's using this sabbatical for?
What?
She's teaching herself how to play the guitar.
Yeah. But you know, another thing, that's great.
And she can sing, which I would have learned to play the guitar years ago, but I've got the worst singing voice in the world. But if you can sing, you need to learn to play the guitar or the piano.
No question about it. We hope you've enjoyed our show. You can see it again today at 1:30. And also, we'll be back tomorrow. Max, are you still on the line?
I'm right here, buddy.
Max, so what's for dinner?
Oh, man, listen, our group is kind of cut back with the summertime.
I know it.
You know, people are traveling a little bit more now. But we'll make that decision on Friday. But we'll probably be a big time fisherman.
You gonna cook something though, won't you? You'll cook something and it'll be good.
There'll be some kind of fish, absolutely, bud. Coming out of the river.
All right, we love you, man. We appreciate you, and stay safe. Be safe, Max.
I'll do it one time next week, guys.
All right, thank you. Max Howell calling in from Fulton. Hope you've enjoyed our show. See you tomorrow.